Welcome to the Keyforge Premier League. This is the Keyforge Premier League on the CKM network. This is Jupiter from Manlius, New York, getting ready to bring you the match between Andyming and Xa0s. This is a round two matchup of two players. One is Greek and the other is Chinese. So we are going to definitely have a good time watching this, and we will see what happens as we transition into the game states. Let's get you guys in there. Let's see what happens with this game as we move forward. Make sure that all the banners are off this time, as I am struggling here. There we go. All right, so there we are with the hands are coming out. Let's take a look at their decks real quick. We have the Fortunately Grandiose Rowan, which is a looks like a Briggs deck that has a Briggs combo in it. It has two Night Forges, oddly. Some neat tricks and shadows, nothing too deep. And then we see that the Binding Irons is present in Dees, which like I've said before, is one of those cards that I think is going to be very useful in the long run when the bidding starts, right? If it gets to round three, you see some clever tricks with the stuff and whatever. I'm going to also turn on the music for everybody to listen to. Turn it down because I think last time it was too loud and probably was over my voice or something because people were saying they couldn't hear it and all they could hear was the music. So try to make that more of a background thing here this time. All right, so that is one of the decks that we're going to see today. Um, the other deck we're going to see is the Oberach Schnacksch Noble. I didn't even pretend to speak German, but here you see it's a proclamation 346, which is good with the doorstep and a lot of cool tricks with the walls and stuff. We've seen this deck before. We have the resonator, so there's a lot of taxing going on here. Brainstem and antenna to get some more value out of those Martian tricks. And you see that he does have like a bit of a rush package going on in the D's. Tentacus could be useful as well in the way the league has been shooting out with artifacts and stuff. So quick recaps, quick look. Those are the decks. I'm going to have the guys go ahead and start. As we have Andyming playing the Oberon, German named noble, and Xa0s playing the Fortunately Grandiose Rowan. We'll see if those double Night Forges come into play. As you can hear, Harlan in the background is getting some energy out with his leg kicks. He flutter kicks like a champ. Alright, here we go, folks. Binding Irons out the gate. Oh, they didn't have a timer set. Alright. So we see the proclamation of 346 come down nice and early with a Xa0s. Xa0s basically makes it so that anytime your opponent is going to reap, he's going to capture Amber. So he's very disruptive in the initial style of Amber push. Now we see Invasion Portal and we see a Collector Worm. So the game is moving fast and it's rapidly starting to set up board state here as Andyming is basically trying to put in his control elements early so that way he can try to push his advantage. Meanwhile, Xa0s has some answers in hand, but we'll wait and see how he decides to play those out. So he plays a wormhole, and the wormhole puts him into a miasma, which is bad timing for that. But we will see a Cutthroat Research come out for an Amber Pip, basically, and then Bouncing Death Quirk to basically get some Collector Worm off the board. It seems like a good play. So Andyming plays the Hadrith's Wall, which gives +2 power to creatures on the flanks. He plays the Lion Batum to make the creatures even bigger on the board. He reaps with the Xa0s to go up to 3 amber and ends turn. He is at 3 amber into Xa0s' 3 amber. Now Xa0s is going to come back and he is going to play a Nerve Blast to steal one from hitting the Lion Batum with it, and basically shift gears with a Ronnie Wrist Clock to basically steal one more, and then he plays the Night Forge just to gain the extra amber and puts himself on check. As he passes back to Andyming. Andyming plays the Charette to take back 3 amber and stop the rush. And he settles on that he settles on his turn after playing a Dust Imp to add some more amber threat to the board state. So the back and forth punches begin. The jabbing out process is in turn. We're moving into turn 5, and it looks like the game is going to have a long-term look. Like I think both people are going to get through their deck at least a couple times in this game. But we'll see. The memory chip comes into play, so now the archives will be live. So we'll open up archives there, making sure that you guys can see the archives and get a good look at what gets put away. You see the replicator come down, which is basically reaps and lets you clone another reap ability. You have helper bot, which he's going to use to play into a poltergeist, and the poltergeist is going to get rid of the proclamation, so that way he is not taxed on his keys as much. So he's back down to 6 instead of 8. Andyming now with 1 amber starts his 5th turn, and he is going to have a go at the board state. I think he goes into Mars here, right, to get some value out of the way. Put down that brainstem antenna. Brainstem antenna would be really good for activating another card at this point, right? It'd be interesting to see what he puts the brainstem on. None of the creatures really benefit from the brainstem antenna at this point, so he might just save it to put it on the Mind Warper. It seems like the Mind Warper would be the best play here for him. Or maybe the Think Drone if he really wants to get archiving a lot of things, but we'll see where he takes it. So you see the Glixel Proliferator is getting ready to be played. Or no, he was Invasion Portaled back into the hand. So that was a good hit for Andyming. So he does play the Mind Warper. And there's the brainstem antenna attaching to it, so now he's going to have some reach with that. Plays the No Drone, which will ready up the Mind Warper. And then we're going to see an Extinction put into the archive. I'm going to save that for later. Extinction is a neat board removal if there's a certain creature type that is heavy on the board. The traits being like Knight and whatnot. So like here, the helper bot is a robot, so the robot would be targeted and a robot would kill any other robot, etc. So right now there's not a lot of value for that card, so it makes sense to send it to the archive. So we see Andy at 1 again, still. So we will see what happens here with Xa0s. So Xa0s is going to use the memory chip to put away one of his Night Forges, which is one of his ways of making a key at 10 amber. So we'll see what happens there. I'm guessing he's trying to set that up to where he can get a big burst with the By Night Rupture and then try to double key through the helper bot, the helper bots. So it's a pretty slick way to get to a key. But we'll see if that comes to fruition. You see him play Feel of the Researcher, which is basically a card that lets you, when you play a card to the left or right, it lets you draw a card. So this card is optimal when it's the only card, like the first card onto the board, but it's still good because you're still going to get 1 card average every time you play it. So unfortunately here he didn't have that that ability to really get high up on that train. But he does have in hand the Briggs combo, which is Binite Rupture with the interdimensional graft. So the idea here is if Andy spikes his amber enough, he will act on that by playing the Briggs to double his mana, and then he'll play interdimensional graft to steal back all the amber other than the amount of amber that he uses to make his key. So that can turn into a pretty lopsided swing at times, and it's early in the game, so it's a good time to draw that. Like yesterday, we saw during Xa0s' game that he got to the Briggs combo a bit too late, like one turn too late to be able to really swing his game back. And unfortunately for that game, I had the cover. I had an advertisement up, and Harlan distracted me, and I thought I took it down, and I thought I turned the voice back on, and I didn't. So you got a lot of music and a banner over round 3 of that game, but you could see most of it to the left of the banner, so like I left it up even though it wasn't ideal. So I do apologize for that if you were following any of the matches on the league. So here we have a big turn. He spikes to 7, so this is probably a good time for him to hit the Binite Rupture combo. So I could probably see that coming, but you see Xa0s basically comes in. Yeah, the Prince and the Unifier comes in, adding extra value with the double of that, and then he has the Grey Rider to actually add more to it. And so here we go. There's the Binite Rupture. There's the interdimensional graft. There's the swing of Amber, all in one swoop. So he has a really good chance of making a key, and then having enough play to maybe get to his second key in Xa0s if all goes well. So he's going to pay 6 at this point, so that would be he'd be at 7. He'd only need to generate 3 amber, which he can off of playing Xa0s cards. So he could spike to 2 keys in one turn here if he goes into Xa0s next turn, and there's no amber taken off the board from him. There's a good chance that won't happen. There's a good chance that there's going to be amber taken off the board from him. Because if he goes into Mars, he will have the Mind Warper, which will do work for him. And then if he goes into Dees, he still has another charrette, so the charrette will be there. But there is the chance that he could use the sack of coins to punch the charrettes and get all that amber back and still make his key. So I think that unknowingly, Andy doesn't know that, but the charrette is not going to be enough to take him off of making 2 keys this turn if he chooses to. But he might choose to position for a later key too, but I don't know if that's wise. But we will find out where this goes. Ganguzzle. Ganguzzle is sad that he doesn't have a target for that Ganguzzle. I don't know if that fighting the Dust Imp was the important part there, but he does. I guess he's opting for the Amber Spike and basically trying to get his Amber up to get to another key. So unfortunately for him, this will most likely, well, I guess it pulls him even. So it's not a bad thing here, but I definitely see Xa0s going into the shadows here, and basically either that or he could go Dees to try to prolong the key with the Schuler and the Whip and get some stuff out of the way and have a bigger shadow turn. But I think he has a chance to get 2 keys here. Like, he basically has a chance to make another key here right off the bat. I think he should take it, because he can use the sack of coins to kill one charrette, and then the whistling darts can help finish off the other charrette. You'd have to play the whistling darts first to get the extra amber, but and then he could basically he would have 5 amber, so 5, like, that would give you enough for 4 to kill 1. He'd only need 3, so then there would be 2, so he'd be 1 short on damage that way. So maybe not, he can't kill both charrettes, but he can kill 1 and still get enough amber off of that to make a key with Nightforge. So we'll see if he chooses to do that, and maybe the Merkins hits an extra amber for him, and that would give him enough to kill both charrettes and pull back all that amber. So there's that line, and then there's the line where he waits a turn and he can go Dees and just stall his opponent from making a key with the Schuler, play the Amber Imp, play the Soul Keeper, hit the Lash, and make him have to get more Amber to make a key, and buy him some time to see if he can't get a little bit more value on his sack of coins. But in the end, we'll see what happens, because there's still a Mind Warper in play here. But the Mind Warper could die here if we go into the throwing stars and the whistling stars and the sack of coins as well. So interesting things to figure out here. And the Mind Warper is only alive because of the Hadrith Wall, so it's important to know that as well. So he can't play anything to the left of the Mind Warper at this point, because if he does, the Mind Warper will just die. And he will lose the Brainstem antenna on that. So big turn here, big brains thinking. See what happens here. Big choice to make. Let's see. He decides to go ahead and take Andy off of key with the Dees play. So I can understand him thinking hard on that, because that is one that is in some sense a little bit risky, right? Like, but in another sense, it makes a lot of sense to do that, because he's going to get the value of another turn, to where maybe he can spike to a second, another key or something like that. But he doesn't have that kind of bursty potential, but he does have some good things going on here. Okay, so this is nice. Drawing the oubliette, because he can take out the Think Drone, and the Think Drone is pretty good here. So I think that is a card that we would want to remove from the game, as it allows him to archive a card and then purge a card to stun a creature. This card can actually get a lot of good utility, but we will see what happens. The ability to archive a card is pretty heavy. But again, he doesn't have a lot archiving going on, so maybe it's not as crucial right now. But here comes the Mars turn. We're going to see a sample collection. I think the sample collection will be on the Amber Imp, so that the Soul Keeper doesn't proc. And he has 2 Shockworms at this point. That's pretty sweet. Move these around just a little bit, because it looks like we're going to need more space. I guess we don't really need to have these up at this point. Just push this one over here a little bit. There you go. So Proliferator fights the Amber Imp, so he does fight the Amber Imp, oddly. So he uses his turn to kind of clear the board and get himself to 8 Amber, but now the flip comes on the Xa0s player. I think now you have to go Xa0s. There's only 5 cards left in his deck, and that Merkins is lurking. Merkins likes to lurk. And if he hits the unlock gateway is in his hand, so that's good. Hysteria? There's still a Hysteria at play? Oh, no, it's out as well. So what big things could he hit with that Merkins? Merkins is only for a creature, right? But he can also take from the archive, so he could grab the Extinction. Oh, he could if he grabs from the archive and he hits that Extinction, it's that could be devastating for But he's back into the Xa0s to try to build up a little bit more of a turn here. Plays not finished with you, which is going to give you a any number of creatures basically put into the archive or back into the deck. So he opts to do that. He passes back to Andyming. Next level big braining going on, as Andyming is again denied a key. Do you see Andyming retaliating here with a turn in Deist just to poltergeist the Lash of Broken Dreams? Or does he push his advantage and just keep making a ton of amber with his Mars? Both are options. Oh, he has the Destroy Them All too, so he can actually wipe out the Lash with the Destroy Them All, which is pretty fun. Destroy Them All. So y'all that don't know, destroy an artifact, a creature, and an upgrade. So that's pretty solid. Let's see what comes of it. He doesn't have to pull the trigger right away, but I think he will. Alright, I'm gonna have to lower the screen a little bit. I'm gonna take it down just a little bit to give you guys more room, because Andy has stretched the battle line to a point that he is super thick. Would you like another gummy bear? Harlan attacking for candy. So here we see how Keyforge is different from most other games. In other games, if you saw a board state like this, you would think the game was over, and that that Andy has just absolutely dominated this game and won. But yet here in Keyforge, the game is rather close if you look at the way that the hands are situated. Merkins, Nightforge, Oubliette, Whistling Dart, Sack of Coins, Bad Penny not great. There's Hysteria. That's huge. I think this is actually a turn where he will go back into use the Hysteria, because he can't really stop the key, but then he doesn't know that there's also he has to know that there's still a doorstep to heaven in play, which is huge. I think this has to be a Xa0s turn. Here comes the Xa0s. Merkins off the top. What does he get? He gets a Exhume. Ooh. Exhume. Interesting. And now he has options. He can grab a Ronnie. I'm guessing it's going to be a Ronnie. No, he exhumes the helper bot. He wants to take stuff out of his hand. Oh, he's going to Hysteria off the helper bot. How good is that going to be? That's going to be insane. And then he gets to come back out and play all his Xa0s stuff again. Oh, crazy. But he's probably going to want to use his Sack of Coins before that happens to get rid of some of these things. There's the Whistling Darts to put 1 damage across everything. Now the Sack of Coins is going to do its work. Wow, that Exhume was huge. Huge. So he uses the Oubliette to get rid of the Grey Rider, take that off the board for good. The Derricks are not worth targeting anymore because he's going to need at least 2 more turns to get those in play. Oh my god, this is great. I think you kill the resonator here. Okay, so he sacks the coins. He did kill the resonator and the think drone, so he's getting rid of all the Martian depth, right? And the Xa0s. Oh. Oh, so big. That was gross. Now he gets the Merkins again. Okay, he's gonna hit the, he's fearful of the doorstep to heaven. That's why he's gonna take the Night Forge now, because he doesn't know that it's in his hand. But now he knows that it's in his hand, so that's a big deal. There's a Borden. He's gonna discard the bad penny because she's never really that good. Wow, what a swingy turn. That was crazy. Oh, and now he has a silver key imp as well. But it's too late for the silver key imp. That would have been sweet. Oh well. But he does have Igor Helper Bot, which is going to help him get some kind of momentum on the next turn. Oh, does he have enough to outpace this, though? I don't know. Like, I think Andy might just already have too much amber for him to deal with. There's no more. It's all empty. Harlan is disappointed that we're out of soda candy. So here comes the barrage of creatures. So Tentacus, Dust Imp, Charette to pull him back, and he still has an unlocked gateway. I think he pitches that at this point. I don't think he's going to need it. But there's not really a reason to pitch it, as he can't get down to a draw point anyway. And he still has the doorstep to heaven, so I think, okay, he's going to actually play it to get the extra amber. Heads up move. Knowing that Xa0s does not have a way to get to check, being only at 5, so he puts himself to 9 and hopes that it's enough, and Andy has won the game. So right there was round 1 of this matchup, and we will alright, so we'll leave this game. We will wait. Man, he's moving fast today, folks. We are good to go. Alright, so here we go. Good luck, have fun. Alright, and in case you guys didn't know, alright, we're good. Alright, so we are in round 2. So let's do a quick promo that fall Mass Mutation Madness 2-deck survival, Mass Mutation only, November 7th. Entry fee is $10. Go to the website to check out the information and sign up for it. If you don't have the sign up, the address to that, go to our Discord channel and look in general, and there is a link that has a link to the webpage and the sign up for it. So thank you so much for everybody's support as we try to continue to grow this and get season 2 like in good spot, in good position. Again, this season people are playing for a $300, $200, and $100 cash prize and 2 supplementary title prizes based off of what Phil decides how he wants to do that. So he's offering basically the best play and the most improved player, but I don't know exactly how he's going to determine that. He has a lot of work, so he's going to have to catch up, either that or like he's going to have to do some kind of committee vote or something. But we'll see what happens. That's a total of $800 on the line for the first season. It's pretty exciting. So thank you to the United Archons. Thank you to Crazy Killing Machine. Thank you to all the people who have donated to help with this prize support. And hopefully season 2 will be bigger and better. But it's going to be hard to top this. This was such a good season. But let's bring this back up to speed as well. Let's bring this back up to 100% so we can see the game. Hopefully the archives won't get crazy, or the battle lines won't get as deep as they were last game, but who knows. Bring up the archives again to bring this out, and let's get back to some play-by-play. As I got sidetracked a little bit with admin tasks. So, all we see here is both people coming out the gate. Andyming has actually rushed out the gate, trying to get ahead early with 5 amber, and he is basically playing to try to not let his deck get set up, right? Like we want to make sure that he can push hard enough into his stuff to make it work, right? So we'll see what happens here. I think this will end up becoming a Mars turn, and the Mars turn will put the resonator down, and we'll see an invasion portal come to the play. I don't think it's time for a doorstep to heaven yet. This is something that some people might not play quite correctly, as like with having the Prince Derek in hand, like using doorstep to heaven is just a big waste, and then the Prince Derek is not even online. Whereas if he goes into Mars, he'll play his Mars cards. He'll have 3. He'll be able to get value out of the second Prince Derek after he doorsteps Andy back down. So it seems to make the most sense to just go ahead and play the resonator and do it. So he basically plays the extinction to get rid of the ZYX, which makes sense. Maybe a little bit early, but it does take that off the board, and ZYX can be a dangerous card. So now he has himself set up to stop Andy and to actually burst his amber a little bit with the Prince Derek. So he could play the doorstep to heaven for 1, get 3 off the Derek, reap off the other Derek, and he's all of a sudden at 5, and Andy will be at 5, and they'll be tied for amber on the board, and he will have. And Andy will actually be behind a little bit because of the resonator taxing him for 10. It'll be up to 10 amber per key. So hardline plays to be made. We'll see what happens and how it plays out. There's the Binite Rupture. Double his amber count, which is sad because he's not going to get the value he thinks he's going to get off of this, as the doorstep to heaven is definitely in play at this point. He did take Derek offline though by killing the resonator with the package special delivery, which is a good thing. Music provided to you guys by the Bass Rebels. Free music on Spotify. Makes the stream go by. Hmm. There's a big swingy turn. Doorstep to Heaven did its work, but he did not get the turnaround he hoped for, but at the same time he did just rip a bunch of work that Andy put into the board to get Amber up. So it seems like he's in a good spot at this point, and he still has the Charette in hand to slow him down even more. Comes the Lash of Broken Dreams, another control-y card, so the controls are being established quite well here. We will see what happens. Got about 42 minutes left in this game. The answer to everything, 42. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. If you guys haven't read it, you should. It's a funny book. A great piece of satire. A trilogy in 4 parts. Douglas Adams is the author if you guys are interested in looking that up, but it is definitely fun to read. The movie was not as good, and not even close to as good as the book. So we see Andy starting to exert some dominance on the this side of the house. Playing very well. Our single Chinese representative of the group. He's from Hong Kong, I believe. But the APAC tournament was a big success, in my opinion, as we were able to reach out to those people over there and get some. We have 2 Filipinos, we have a bunch of Australians, we have a Chinese representative. Ideally, eventually we get to mainland China, which I don't think will happen. It probably won't happen because of laws that they have, but maybe get some Korean representation in the future. That would be neat. I know there's a lot of really wonderful players on that side of the world, and it would be great to see them in action. Alright, so the collector worm is on the board. That could be a problem. Collector worms like to eat. And they can eat up a lot of stuff if you don't take care of them. You don't get them out of the way. But we see a Xa0s turn coming, which is going to be interesting. As we haven't really seen Xa0s hit any traction with this deck yet, so it's interesting that Andy was able to get Amber out of it, and Xa0s is struggling to get any kind of Amber pool out of it. But it definitely came out weaker than it did for Andy, as we didn't see a Brainstem Antenna early or a Hadron's Wall early or anything like that. So This is the beauty of Keyforge, I guess, in the fact that like every deck always presents differently. Like every game seems like it presents differently. And Keyforge is a wonderful game as far as just staying fresh and always being on the edge of the good and the bad of it. So you have to ride the tide sometimes with Keyforge, and it's fun. Game like no other. See the poltergeist go to the archives. Maybe saving that for the Hadrith's Wall? I don't know. I think the portal is a pretty good choice. But by not having a lot of decent hand, maybe that's what he wants to filter out, which is fine too. So here we go. Collector Room's gonna eat. It's gonna eat that Merkins. Merkins is small enough that he does not get consumed into the archives of the Collector Worm. He goes to the discard pile because he did die from the fight, but if he hadn't died from the fight, the Collector Worm would have put him into his belly. We have about 36 minutes left in this round, or in this game, I should say. But not a whole lot of traction on Xa0s' side as far as like seeing a way for him to generate the amber that he needs to catch up in this game. And Andy seems to be getting, like, the rich are getting richer with the kind of draws that he's getting. They're insane. He's hitting a lot of value in the cards that he's getting to bring out. So it is interesting. He has kind of handcuffed himself with the Silver Key Imp as well, though. Like, I don't know if that's something that he wants to keep around for too long. Looks like he's going to put damage on to the Dust Imp. He's probably going to take the Collector Room away. Yeah. Don't want that Collector Room getting too far out of hand. He's back on 6. And Xa0s does not have an answer for this. So he will be behind 2 keys. And not really a lot of way to really push forward here. So like it seems that Andy has put Xa0s on the ropes. We'll see if we can get a Rocky-like comeback, but it's looking a little bleak. Here comes the invasion portal trying to save the day. Goes through the rest of his deck and does not draw another card, but he will get to recycle at least. He'll get to put all those things back into his deck. But you see that he missed out on the Brainstem Antenna, Proclamation 346 Echo, the Unlocked Gateway, a Poltergeist, Tentacus, like lots of really good cards in those last couple cards that got pushed away, and those are cards that you kind of want to see a little bit earlier than not. So. Well, he does redraw into the Proclamation, which might buy him some time, so that's nice. But it's into a rough spot here. The Mind Warper was able to keep Andy off of the key for now. I guess the value of that turn was the ability to get through the rest of his deck and recycle a little bit. That's helpful. But now here comes Andy with this crazy amount of logos and helper bot action to try to put this game away. I think he uses the Hysteria here, right? Pop everything back into his hand and play it again because he'll get 2 more cards off of the Fila and the helper bot. Like he can get 2 helper bots online, so that's pretty good. Like I think you're gonna see a pretty fun play here, and then the helper bot comes back, and you can use the Ronnie to get another extra value off of that, or he might draw something better. What? He played the Binding Irons. Oh, I think the Hysteria is a missed opportunity there. Could have got so much more like range with it. He might be thinking about the unlocked gateway or something, but if there's an unlocked gateway, it's still going to happen, and he's still going to lose all this board. And he basically left 2 cards in his deck that he could have pulled out already with the Fila and 2 more Igors. So that's like 9 cards deep. He could have been deeper into his deck to like set himself up for a better turn, but the Binding Irons is in play, and that's 1 less card that he's taking away from Xa0s. So he's definitely making Xa0s feel the attrition on his side. Now we see Andy with the Poltergeist play. See, now during his turn, that Hysteria just doesn't feel as good. Doesn't feel as good at all. He chooses to discard the Amber Imp. Interesting. I could see that being a good play though, because he doesn't want to have to handcuff himself with Reaping, especially with the amount of creatures that he's going to have on the board. But he's just bought like a whole bunch of time for Xa0s to find answers to him. Like now he's like slowed himself down tremendously as far as getting through his deck and drawing cards by not having played that Hysteria turn. But I'll let that go for now. Let's see where it ends. The Gongoozle on his own imp, which does not kill it. Means that he has to discard a card. Discards Exhume. Oh goodness. He fell victim to his own Hadrith Wall there, I believe. I believe that was something that he was not expecting to do to himself. That Gongoozle was a fail. Now the Merkins comes into play. Merkins is in the archive, sorry, not in play. But we see the ZYX, the Fila, getting value, more and more value here. Drawing cards. We're seeing lots of depth here with the Igors, like very sweet. We see Invasion Portal trying to put it in work. The Think Drone. There's the Xa0s that never came to be. It's a card that should have been on the table early to help him out, but it looks like this game might be over, folks, as Andyming is going to be able to go Xa0s and forge Night Forge out. It's a very dominant performance by, oh, he goes Logos? Interesting. With the Night Forge in the archives, you would think that he would have just took the game and won. He had the Ronnie wristlocks and the whistling darts, like that's all he would have really needed to get to where he needed to. Well, actually, no, I take that back. I take that back. My bad math. Because he would not have been able to do that. He was still at... What was he at? He was at 5 amber, so 5. He'd only got 6, 7, 8, so he would have been too short for the Night Forge. Fair enough. That was my bad math because I don't play Night Forge. I keep forgetting Night Forge is not key charge, and that gets +4, not +1. So, well played. That was my bonehead on that last bit of math. This game was over early though, as Xa0s never caught any traction. And that is it. Gonna do it for this game. So we are going to basically say thank you so much for tuning in and remind you one more time about the Fall Mass Mutation Madness 2-deck survival, mass mutation only. November 7th, 11 a.m. Eastern. $10 entry fee will get you a chance to win some Dark Amber tokens. 20 Dark Amber tokens will be given away randomly to all, and everybody that participates will get a chance to win that. So we'll spin the wheel and see who wins, and that'll be awesome. And then 80% of the prize pool is going back out in payments to the top 8 in a percentage structure breakdown, and the other 20% will go towards tournament organization and league prize pools. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this. You're going to start to see more events from us as we go. We have people in place now. It's not all just me. So you might start to see, you get to see me start to really focus on my media stuff and work out all the kinks and details. I'm still working on my OBS layouts and stuff, and hopefully there will be a bigger and better push for that as well. So with that said, this is Jupiter from Manlius, New York, and I say keep forging and thank you for tuning in.